responsibility for overseeing the Mesa Grande area has fallen under the Arizona Museum of Natural History, along with the Southwest Archaeological Team, which is affiliated with the museum. And so here to talk about the significance of this site is the project. This project is the administrator of the Arizona Museum of Natural History, Dr. Tom Wilson. Tom?
Thank you, Chris, and thank you all for coming out this morning. Just a couple of words about the significance of Mesa Grande. I think many of you are already aware of many of these points, but Mesa Grande is a Hohokam prehistoric platform mound that today is about the size of a football field and rises to a height of about 27 feet. But in the past, it was the center of a large political and religious center that would have had a village surrounding it, and it was the place where also probably managed the great canals that were coming off the Salt River just near here. And some of those, our museum has just recently excavated at the Riverview and Riverview Park sites, the largest of which we found was about 40 feet wide and about 15 feet deep. And if you think of using digging sticks and baskets to clear out those canals and the engineering feat that led them to run those canals for 20 and 30 miles from their head gates at the river, you get an idea of the supreme accomplishments of the Hohokam. In the past, Mesa Grande was probably one of the most important Hohokam sites in what is today Arizona, and certainly today, as a ruin, it is one of the most important archaeological sites still extant. And many of the others, of course, have perished with the advance of civilization. So the 100 years or so of people that Stephanie has talked about that made the effort to preserve Mesa Grande give us the gift that we now have today and that we're celebrating. Mesa Grande is on the National Register of Historic Places since 1978, and it is also an Arizona 2012 Centennial Legacy Project. So those are reflections of the importance of the site that we're celebrating this morning. In regarding development of the site and opening it to the public, after long deliberations, we came to the conclusion that less is more philosophy is probably what is important for this site. You can tell just from sitting here, without even setting foot further onto the site, that this is a very special place. It's special because it's sacred. It's special because of the long history of the site. It's special because of the very tranquil nature of where we're sitting in the middle of a huge urban conglomerate. And we want to preserve that sense so that when you come onto the site, you have a sense of exploration and a sense of appreciation of what it was like in the past. And so to do that, instead of a large build-out, we've tried to be modest in our build-out. The visitor center, the welcoming center, and the gathering place are going to be relatively small facilities. And then we have an interpretive trail, which has already been put in. And here's an example of the interpretation right over there. We're going to have 9 stations, and there's going to be 4 themes carried across the settlement landscape. 1, the Hohokam. 2, early exploration in the area. 3, contemporary archaeological information about the site. And 4, we're calling Looking Closely, just inviting you to look at the flora and fauna and features of the mound so that you can appreciate those aspects of it. There's going to be further thanks to everybody who has participated in this, so I'm not going to try to be comprehensive. There are a few that I'm going to mention, and one Stephanie has already laid the groundwork for, and that is the citizens of Mesa who for well over 85 years have been working to preserve Mesa Grande, so the whole town really deserves a big round of applause from us. Stephanie mentioned the 1927 March in Mesa. That was the same year that Frank Midvale, who was a local archaeologist and did a lot of work on the canals and on the Hohokam sites in this area, purchased the site in 1927, and it was in his ownership until 1962 when Aquanetta Ross and her family got the site. So it was his efforts at preservation that were in between what Stephanie first mentioned and then when the Rosses took it over before it finally came under the auspices of the city of Mesa. And so he too is somebody that we need to recognize. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian community profusely, because it was a grant from them, a generous grant from Salt River in 2006, that really led to the culmination of the present project. That allowed us to do a statewide planning group that included representatives from both Salt and Gila River, archaeologists from both U of A and ASU, and others. And that's what led us to this. Less is more philosophy and the welcoming center that we're celebrating this morning. I'd like to recognize WH Pacific and Historic Streetscapes as our architects, the Arizona Museum of Natural History Foundation and Guild, who gave us some funds when we really needed them. And finally, I'd just like to recognize Jerry Howard and the SWAT group, who since the mid-1980s have been taking care of Mesa Grande, and this is really their dream that's coming to fruition. And finally, I have commemorative trowels made for all the dignitaries who are participating this morning. The trowel, of course, is the archaeologist tool, even though we've had some shovels over here. And it's inscribed Mesa Grande, Arizona Centennial 2012. And each of the participants will receive one of these for today. Thank you very much.